Hi, I'm going to be walking you through the Jumpstart document. Now, the Jumpstart PDF in your download area is very self explanatory. As a matter of fact, there is a specific goal broken down from long term, short term, from long term to medium term to short term to milestones to action points. However, some people have struggled with translating their long term goals into short term goals. And so that's what I'm going to be doing in this class. We have established the fact that you have to dream, and then from dreaming, it becomes a vision, something you can picture in your mind. That was why you needed the visioning board so that you could see pictures and you could imagine what this would look like in your life. However, the vision board didn't just stop as pictures or just put pictures all over the place. No, there were pages immediately after each image asking you why or what. That's what you're supposed to document inside. Why you want this vision or what this is inspiring you to do, the benefits of this in your life. It's just general dreaming. At this point, you're becoming more conscious of what this dream would require to become a vision. At this point, where we are right this minute, we are going to make that vision into something that is doable. In order to do that, it has to move from just being vision, something you can imagine in your mind, to being goals, something you can do. Because it is goals when you have achieved them that becomes the result of, I dreamt about it, and this is what I dreamt about. Now, in the next module, you will discover why you are unable to make decisions. For those of you who procrastinate, there is a procrastination tool there as well for you to study and say, oh, okay, this is how I procrastinate, and this is why I procrastinate, and this is the way I can go around my procrastination. Let's jump into, let's get into the jump start. The goal is to break your vision down into achievable milestones. So you don't just want to have this big goal, this lofty goal. So all the goals in this slide, all the goals you will find as I walk through this are specifics from students. These are things our students have written across a couple of years saying, oh, they want to achieve. And so I'm going to walk through their own goals, not what is in the document, their own goals. So you will find me picking different long term goals that don't look like they are from the same person because they are not, or short term goals that are not related to these long term goals. They are all not from the same person. I just want to clarify that. So you don't wonder how one person wants to be a chef and be a civil engineer. Even though that's possible, it can be intense, really intense and stressful. So long-term goal, we find this person, number one person wants to become an internationally accredited life coach with 10,000 students. This is the example in your document. This is the example that we broke down from long term to medium to short term to milestones to action points. This one. And so you want to go into that document after this presentation to go check it out. The second person says become a multi-millionaire in dollars, and that is amazing. Fantastic dream. Become an internationally accredited life coach with 10,000 students. Awesome. Become an excellent chef with a specialty in African dishes. Amazing. Become a registered and practicing civil engineer. Whoa, that's good. But the question is how? Because at this point, it's no longer what do you want to do or why do you want to do it. When it was a dream, it just looked good. When you started to ask yourself, why do I want to do this? It started becoming a vision. Now that you have made up your mind that, okay, this is what I want to do, not only do you know why, you have made up your mind that this is what you want to do, you want to find out how. How would you become an internationally accredited life coach? How would you get 10,000 students? How would you become a multimillionaire in dollars? How would you become an excellent chef with a specialty in African dishes? How will you become a registered and practicing civil engineer? That is what takes us to your medium term goals. Your medium term goals is where we break this down. How am I going to do this thing? And so, for medium term goals, these are things you need to achieve for your long term goals to succeed. So, let's go back to this long term goal one. For this person to become an internationally accredited coach with 10,000 students, it means they have to have a goal to start teaching students from now. Or they have to have a plan where the number of students they teach increase each year. So let's say this is going to take 10 years. They can decide to say, oh, I'm going to take 1,000 students yearly, or I'm going to take 100 students and I'm going to multiply that by 10. I'm going to take 1,000 students maybe in the space of 2, 3 years, and I'm going to take 10 by the time you cumulate the 10 years, I'm going to have 10,000 students. How are you going to become a multi-millionaire in dollars? Well, you have to be someone who makes $1 million at least. You have to have made $1 million and then made $1 million multiple times and then have $1 million in multiple places simultaneously. Did you hear that? You have to make $1 million. You have to make $1 million multiple times. Then you have to have $1 million in multiple places simultaneously, which means you have to make, say, $10 million. But then it's not just, oh, I made $1 million in January and then I make another $1 million in December. Obviously, you've exhausted the first one before you go to the second one. You have to be able to be making $1 million somewhere in January, $1 million in another place in February, $1 million in March. Then you have to start, after a while, you have to start having $1 million in multiple places in January, $1 million in multiple places in February. That's how it goes. And so let's break down medium terms. Someone says, I want to get a tech certification in cybersecurity. The long term goals were good because they just had to be one sentences or a couple of sentences that say, okay, this is where I'm going. But when you get to medium term goals, you can no longer make it one sentence. That's not a goal. A goal has to be specific, it has to be hyper specific. Notice how the first long term goal says become an internationally accredited life coach with 10,000 students. That is specific. It's not just, oh, I'm going to be a life coach. No, I'm going to be an accredited life coach. It's not just, oh, I'm going to be an accredited life coach. I have to be accredited not just in my locality, but in my internationally. I want to be recognized and I want my accreditation to be usable in other countries. And I don't just want to have a certification and a license that is accredited or an accreditation in other places. I want people to be able to look at numbers and figures of the work I have done. That's very specific. Become a registered and practicing civil engineer. It means I don't just want to go to school and study civil engineering. I want to have practice. I want to have license. And I don't just want to have my license and keep it. I want to have my license and practice. I want to be an excellent chef. Anybody can say, oh, yeah, anybody can claim that they cook, right? But you don't just want to cook, you want to be a professional chef. Now, you don't just want to be professional, you want to be excellent. How do we know you are excellent? Well, it means at some point you have to do something or become something or gain a title that displays your excellency. And you don't just want to be excellent in everything because that makes you stressed. That is going to get you anxious. The specialty is now in African dishes. You want to become a multi-millionaire. Well, multi-millionaire can be multi-millionaire in naira. It can be multi-millionaire in cedis. This person specifically says in dollar, in one of the strongest currencies in the world, meaning they want to have money that even during inflation and during recessions, they still have money that is usable. That is specific. However, when we come to medium term goals, those type of sentences no longer work. Get a tech certification in cybersecurity is not enough. You want to specify the cadre of this certification you want to get. You want to go ahead and find the body that will certify you. You want to go and look for the exact school you want to go to. One of the easiest ways to know how to get a certification course in any industry, especially industries that have licenses, is to go to the licensing body. Every license, and I learned this because therapy has licensing bodies, and those licensing bodies have approved education providers. Every community, every licensing body, every accreditation body always has accredited course providers. Go to the licensing body and search through their directory for their accredited course providers and go take your courses from them. Otherwise, you could go take a degree from a school that says, oh, we teach cybersecurity. Meanwhile, their cybersecurity certification has no accreditation with any major government body. It has no local accreditation. It has no international accreditation. Yes, you will learn. Yes, you will have the knowledge, but the knowledge will not be knowledge you can prove to outsiders. And mind you, the reason you're getting a certification is not for yourself. Nobody gets a certification so they can just hang it on their wall and be happy professionally. You get certification because you want to prove to other people and you want other people to be able to verify that you studied what you said you studied. So if you're going to get a tech certification, don't just say, oh, I'll get a tech certification. In 3 to 6 years, no, 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 that's not enough. You need to be able to say, I'm getting a tech certification in cybersecurity with so so and so grade from so and so university in this city that allows me to get a license at so and so place so that I can practice in so and so location. See how I am not just talking about the certification, I'm talking about the licensings, I'm talking about the kinds of jobs, I'm talking about the specification of the location. That's a medium term goal. This is what you want to achieve in 3 or 6 years. It's not something you're achieving in 3 months. So there's no pressure, but you need to know what you're looking for. The same thing goes to financial freedom. When you say when you say you want multiple streams of income, what do you mean? Multiple streams of income. 2 is multiple stream of income. Yet 7 is multiple streams of income and 10 is multiple streams of income. You want to be specific as to what you mean by multiple streams of income. It's just like saying I want to be a multimillionaire. Well, how are you going to be a multimillionaire? Do you want to be an investor? Because if all your source of income comes from companies you own, it means these are companies you have to do the work. If they are companies you have to do the work, or you decide to hire people, it means you have to supervise these people and then have this cater and cater and cater, like so many caters of offices. And the problem with having too many offices is bureaucracy, in which case your organizations might not be as functional as you want them to be. So if you're saying you want to be a multimillionaire, you want to have multiple streams of income, you want to specify how much do you want to invest? How many, what kind of organization would you want to run? What kind of businesses do you want to go to? How are you going to study up to know how to invest? Are you going to take a course on on being a venture capitalist? What are you going to do to make you have multiple streams of income? Because for a lot of us, what we are creating is not necessarily multiple streams of income for financial freedom. What we have are multiple jobs where we can tell people we make money. I remembered looking through my account statement about 2 or 3 years ago, and I remembered I made money from about 7 or 8 different sources. I didn't even realize until I downloaded my account statement. And then I wrote down each of those platforms and I wrote which one takes more time and produces less money, which one takes the least time and produces the most money. When I was done, I knew about 5 of them had to go. I mean, I could go out and brag and be like, oh, I made money from 8 sources this year, which is amazing. But of what use is making money from 8 different sources if it means I have to do 8 times 8 hour shifts? Does that make sense? So I'm not just doing 8 hour shifts at one job. I'm doing 8 hour shifts on a second job, a third job, a fourth job, a fifth project, a sixth freelance job. They're all jobs. That doesn't give me financial freedom. It's not financial freedom if I don't have time. The concept of financial freedom is that I have time to do other things. I have time to visit my other organizations and visit the things I'm invested in. So when you say multiple streams of income, you want to specify. You want to talk about what your financial portfolio will look like. Do you want to be an investor? Do you want to be a business owner? How long do you want to be in business before you become an investor? What kind of investment do you want to try out? You don't need to know everything about investment today, but if you want financial freedom and multiple source of streams of income, it means at some point in your action plan, even though you are studying up on business on how to run your business, you have to simultaneously be studying up on investment. Otherwise, you're going to end up running a good business and still be a terrible investor, in which case you will lose money. Number 3 says start a business in skincare and cosmetics. And I specifically looked at this and thought, okay, that's interesting. Maybe because my I get to be around wellness organizations all the time. When you say you want to start a business in skincare and cosmetics, do you want to import? Do you want to export? Do you want to franchise with an organization? Do you want to start your own skincare line? Do you want to advertise for other skincare organizations? What do you mean when you say start a business in skincare? Because that is generic, very, very generic. This can go 1,000 different places. It can go in any way. With the advent of technology, do you want to create a business where skincare, do you want to create a platform where skincare businesses can come together? Do you want to create a network for skincare businesses, for skincare business providers? Is that what you want to do? Because that can easily become a business as well. So when you say start a business, you want to specify about the kind of business you want to run. For example, if you decide to own a franchise of Fenty, you could make thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars from just being a franchise for Fenty. Doesn't necessarily make you a skincare expert. In Nigeria, I have seen a lot of people who are simply skincare resellers rather, and they talk about it like, oh, they are the scientists. I'm like, no, you are not. You are merely a user like me who has decided to partner with this organization to sell on their behalf. You're a retailer. Don't sound like you were the one who manufactured this. You don't know what is inside this product. What you tell me is inside this product is what they told you is inside this product. That's a type of business. Do they make money? Yes. Hundreds of thousands of naira every month, every year. So specify what you mean when you say start a business. If you're going to start a business in skincare in 3 to 6 years' time, it means within the next 1 year, you owe it to yourself to own a business plan, a comprehensive business plan, not just lean model canvas. Lean model canvas is a great place to start, but you owe it to yourself to own a comprehensive business plan. And this applies to everybody who wants to start a get 10K followers. When I saw this, my question was, why do you need 10K followers? What do those followers do for you? When you say get 10K followers, followers are vanity metrics. When we say vanity metrics, people can follow you and not consume your content and not engage with you. They can like your profile picture, like something you posted, like you and go offline and not come back online for the next 6 months. So when you say get 10K followers, you have to follow it up with something. Get 10K followers and get 100 clients to buy my product every month. Get 10K followers and get 1,000 people to watch my videos on YouTube. Get 10K followers on which platform even? Get 10K followers on Instagram and get 1,000 of them to join my email subscription list. Get 10,000 followers on TikTok and get them to visit my website and get how many of that number to visit your website. These 10K followers, if they are not doing anything for you, do not contribute to your goals. They just look nice on paper. They look nice on the handle. Otherwise, they do not contribute to your finances, they do not contribute to your business, they do not contribute to anything you're doing at all. It's just there. It's just a nice to have. There are people who have 500 followers and they are cashing out 5M on that platform. There's a new brand I followed recently, and every time they made a post, they had I think, less than 30 likes on the average, 30 likes to about 8 comments. And then I went to check their products and services. I think the cheapest product they had was about 1.5 million naira. And guess what? They were testimonials, and I knew some of the people on their testimonial list. Now, that is something to aspire to. I'm not saying don't get followers, but when you say you want followers, what do those followers do? What do those followers contribute to your brand? Number 5 says, stick through my healing journey and build healthy relationships. Fantastic goal. Very, very fantastic. But if in 3 to 6 years, all you can do is say, I will stick through my healing journey, then you've not really succeeded much in 3 to 6 years. In 3 to 6 years, I want you to be able to say, oh, I would have been in therapy for 1 year, during which time I want to recover from ABC, or during which time I want to make sure I stop picking toxic friends, during which period I want to make sure I no longer hold on to A, B, and C toxic relationship. so that I can make room for healthy relationship. I want to get into therapy. I want to get rid of toxic relationships in my life, and I'm going to do it between a timeline. So what is missing in this particular goal is not just what you said you will do, it's the timeline accrued to it. Because stick through my healing journey can happen in 20 years. Stick through my healing journey. What would be the specific evidence we see in 3 years that will let us know that you stuck through your healing journey from today till the next 6 years? From today till the next 3 years. What will be the evidence? Build healthy relationships. When you say build healthy relationships, do you mean 1,000 people? Because you could make that two relationships, two healthy relationships that are very, very solid. You have to put number to number five goal, because emotional healing doesn't have something to hold on to. So you need number. You need number here. When you say build healthy relationships, put a number, say two or three. Stick through my healing journey. Maybe I'm going to have a personal therapist, or I'm going to get a coach. I'm going to put this person on a retainer for the next 1 year. It's specific. You need numbers here. Number six says get relevant engineering certification. That is as generic as the person who says start a business. Get relevant engineering certifications. No, sir. No, ma. You want to get specifics. You need to know the engineering certifications that are relevant. Don't just know them. Write out a list. As I'm talking to you right now, all the courses I intend to do, if you give me $150,000 right now, I know the schools to call. I don't just mean I know the schools. I know the courses in particular. I know the requirements for each of those courses. I have emailed those schools at least once regarding that particular course. I've gotten feedback. I've come to verify if the course is approved and accredited. I've come to verify if that course contributes to my licensing. I'm speaking reproductive biology. I'm speaking expressive art therapy. I'm speaking neuroscience. All of the core courses that contribute to my work, I have gone to check them out. When I realized, oh, okay, I will not be able to do therapy full time with all of the work I'm doing around date coaching and be able to do what I do in fashion, I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to go take fashion courses like I'm a staff. I'm going to take fashion courses like I'm a boss. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a course in fashion technology instead of going to take a course in fashion styling. You know why? Because if I take a class in fashion styling, I have simply made myself a stylist. All I did was get myself a job. But if I take a course in fashion technology, I will be able to infuse technology into the job of a stylist and hire a stylist to do the job of a stylist. And I'm able to conceptualize better because I have higher education and higher exposure than the average stylist. That's something to aspire to in 3 to 6 years. So don't just say engineering certifications, get specific. And finally, I'm going to short term goals. Make physical friends. When you say make physical friends, oh, I didn't correct this medium terms 3 to 6. It's supposed to be short term 1 to 2 years. When you say make physical friends, how many physical friends do you want to make? Put a number to it. Say, oh, I'm going to make one friend in the space of 1 year. The reason I said one friend is because you cannot control where you will meet this friend, even though you have to still go out and go to places where you can socialize, where they share your value system. You still cannot determine who will bond with you, how many people will bond with you, how many people will stay with you, how many of the people who bond and try to stay with you will be toxic people, how many of the people you bond with will watch out for you, will have healthy relationships, will know how to resolve conflict. You really don't know. So you want to make a target that is wide. The concept of doing long-term goals is not so that you can put yourself under pressure. It's so that your timing of achievement has a margin. That margin is a margin for failure. If I say I will do something in 3 to 6 years, it does not mean I cannot push for it to happen in 1 year, but I'm giving myself a 2 years margin of failure. Does it mean I cannot have 10 friends in a year? I can, but I'm giving myself a margin for failure and saying, oh, okay, if I get 10 friends and five become close, I'm going to have two in my inner circle who I know can fight and watch my back. If you're going to have a short term goal, a mid term goal to register to have businesses, And then in long-term plan, in your long-term plan, you want those businesses to be multi-million dollar companies. Then in your short-term plan, you have to be registering those businesses. So don't just say, I will register my business. Which business are you registering? Where's the business plan for the business you're registering? How many people do you need on your board? How many staff would you need? Did you bother to write out how many staff you need? Did you bother to write out how many roles you will fill? A lot of us feel like, oh, but I'm here now. I cannot afford to hire people. Yes, but write out their job descriptions now. Every day I find out, oh, I might need someone to fill in this role in 6 months' time. I go and draft out their document like I'm employing them next week. That's one of the things I did that made me realize, oh, okay, I'm a fantastic therapist with trauma, but I'm not as fantastic with addiction. I was talking to my team lead and I said, do we scrap it? But then we went back to the long term plan of Lisa Express and we realized if we scrap it, we'll be in trouble in about 7 years' time. You know what? We're going to hire someone to come and fill in this role because this role is vital to something in the long term. If we did not have that long term plan, guess what? We will scrap addiction from our services and in 3 years' time, we'll be back in soup. That's why you need a business plan. A business plan is not so that someone can give you grants. Giving you grants is fantastic, but sustaining your business is the most important reason why you need a business plan. Attend a professional fellowship. Many of you don't know that there are fellowships that are professional. There are fellowships for engineers, fellowships for writers, and I don't mean church fellowships or religious fellowships. No, professional fellowships like YALI, Young African Leadership Initiative, Mandela, TED, Digital Society School. There are all of these fellowships that allow you to be exchange students, learn from other people, sit in cross-cultural environments. Apply to those type of things. Those are the things that should be on your short-term plan. Because even if you don't have all the knowledge you need, if you go to a professional environment where they have what you need, you will suddenly realize you're not as organized and as orderly as you thought you were. I didn't realize how much of a terrible business person I was until I sat at an entrepreneurs fellowship once and I realized, oof, I'm not an NGO. I'm a business, but I'm running my business like it's a hobby. Number five, begin therapy. When do you want to begin this therapy? Put a date to it. Say, oh, I'm going to begin therapy on the 1st of January. Don't say, okay, I'll begin therapy sometime in the year. Nope, that's not a goal. I know it's short term, but it's still not a goal. When I was going to start writing this year, I told myself I'm going to start writing January 1st. But guess when I started writing December? I started writing in December. I told myself that I was warming up my hands. By January 1st, the energy I had did not happen because, oh, it's a new year, new goal. No, it happened because I had exercised my mind. I had exercised my pen. I had started to plan since December and I started to write sample articles. I had cleared my table of all the technical work that would delay me. And so by January 1st, when I started to write, writing was the most important thing on my table. So it's not like, oh, I want to write and design. No, I had already done all these other things, and writing was the priority because there was a date set to it. Join a run club. So, those of you looking for friends, joining a run club is a great place to have friends. You want to balance your BMI. Don't just say, oh, I want my BMI to go in the yellow. Yeah, for short term goal, that's great. But in the long term, no, you want something, you want to be in the green. And you want to be in the green for 20 years. You want to be in the green for 40 years. Well, what can you do today that you can do consistently for 40 years? Trust me, a run club that you have people to do it with, that is fun, that even if you were to change cities, you can join a new run club, that is exciting. You're going to be outdoors. That's perfect for a lot of your goals. You will meet friends, you will meet business partners, your body will be in shape, you will be in community. It is on this note that I end this class. If you have any questions whatsoever, just put it in the comment section of this course and you will be responded to by one of our coaches.